Okay. Gentlemen of the Freehold Board, Bruce Patterson. If I was in Jersey, hopefully there's more than just me. But anyway, just a bunch of resolutions, questions on them. Number 543, 544, and 573, which is on page 6. These are all to T&M Associates. One is for conducting environmental site investigation at Elizabeth River Trail for $20,000. Another one's for surveying services, for boundary mapping for $16,000. The other one is for $43,000. And that's page 6. Yeah, that's for, again, remediation or site investigation for that motor vehicle garage. And that $43,000, some of these numbers are just astronomical. I think it's really time to get rid of T&M. I know he donates to the Leslie Atkins, the Freeholder Campaign, and crying, to about $65,000 the last 5 years. But I think it's really time to get somebody a lot better and a lot less expensive. He's charging too much. They're all wow numbers to me. On 546, this is awarding a contract to the Union County Performing Arts Center for $75,000. As you recall, a couple of years ago, the prosecutor found that the Union County Performing Arts Center actually squirreled away $100,000 of taxpayer money, was hiding it from the public until the prosecutor uncovered it. I think it's about time you put your foot down. Don't send them any more money, because obviously something's funky over in that organization. Going to 549, 550, 551, and 552, I've asked this as a general question. These are all amending or a resolution modifying the budget. They total $3.2 million. My normal questions are, is that already buried in the budget that you passed, or is this something over and above? And is this possibly offsetting any expenditures from the budget relieving the taxpayers? Number 558. You explained that. Thank you very much for explaining it, Director Guzzo. Number 572. This is interesting. This is giving a $68,000 increment to $143,000 for special counsel for personal affairs. I mean, $143,000 for personal affairs for counsel. That's amazing. I need some explanation on that.
Personnel affairs.
Personnel.
Not personal affairs.
People, employees. But that's a lot of money. And I don't know of any other corporations that really, I'm in the private industry, that really do something like that. That just sounds like a waste of money. Number 578. That's the provision of an ambulance facility in Linden, and I understood your qualifications or why you're doing it. My question is, obviously there's manpower, full-time manpower that goes with these ambulances that are right now stationed at Westfield, and so now how is this manpower going to be allocated between the two facilities? And something tells me that, you're saying response time, well then Plainfield may end up with something over there with response time. This is starting to get bigger and bigger, grow by itself. And to tell you the truth, it sounds like this is a good example of why counties should be districting. So each district can actually discuss their issues and requirements. It sounds like a perfect entrance for districting. Number 580, you're auctioning off a four-door 97 Honda Civic. God bless you with how much money you're going to get on that. But to tell you the truth, I mean, it's only one vehicle. Why can't you wait for others? At the end here, 583, the Union County Memorandum of Understanding with the UCIA and Ronald Hospital. Somebody mentioned, it was recommended. That was the terminology. My question is, who was the one that recommended the Union County Improvement Authority get involved in this Ronald study? And is there a cost involved? The last one, 584. The study to create Union County authorities. I do applaud that. It's a good idea that you're looking to save costs for the taxpayers. Thank you very much on that. But I'm just wondering, the Union County golf operation somehow involved with one of these authorities. I'm just wondering how that's going to fit in, or do you think it's going to be pulled out and put back in the county? Thank you very much.
I think we had a couple questions in there, and the first was regarding finance resolutions. Director Taylor? I think the question was, were these accounted for in the budget, and how do they match up, I guess, into what we had budgeted previously? Yes, thank you.
For you, Mr. Chair, Resolution 2013-549 through 552 are new items of revenue not previously identified and accounted for in the 2013 adopted budget. These processes, resolutions to amend the budget, essentially allows us to bring the dollars into the budget and then utilize them for necessary public programs. They do not offset tax dollars because the budget has already been structured to do so with supplanting, which is contrary to many federal and state grant requirements.
Thank you, Director. Another question was, I guess there was a question on manpower regarding the ambulances and the expansion to the location of Linden. Director Moran, if you could just elaborate on that.
Mr. Chairman, through you, we currently staff 2 ambulances, one on a 12-hour shift, one on an 8-hour shift. That will not change. We're just deploying one of them to Linden. So our manpower for the program will not change because of this.
But we'll have a faster response time to Rawley and Elizabeth and Linden, and if they need to go to more western towns, they can do so, correct?
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you, Director. Appreciate that. And the last question was regarding the UCIA and just who made the recommendations. And I think that was the study we did last year, correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
All right, great. Anyone else?
Tina Anna Cranford. 558, you're adjusting the internal position control schedule for the budget. If someone can explain that, please. 562, the prosecutor's office. Professional service contracts to serve as financial accountant consultant for the Union County Prosecutor's Office. Is this something new? I looked on last year's resolutions list. I didn't see that. This is $28,000. Someone explain exactly what that is for and if it's something that's new. 583, resolution authorizing memorandum of understanding between the county and Union County Improvement Authority and Reynolds. What is the time frame to report back on that? And who is leading? That's an internal thing that's going on. So who is the team leader on that? Who's the head of the committee? And if you can tell me who's on the committee. Same for 584. Who is taking the lead on that? Is there a freeholder liaison to that? And what county employee is organizing that? 555, you're accepting grant funds to develop a strategic recovery planning report. Under the terms and conditions of New Jersey Post-Sandy Planning Assistance Grant Program, $30,000. Is that going to include what your internal controls are on existing equipment to be used in emergencies? For instance, you purchased 24 generators the week after Sandy and you rented 3. So that was 27 generators. When many generators went home with county employees. So you replaced them with Sandy emergency funds. So is this report, if you can outline exactly what the state's asking you to do, what exactly they're making you plan on, and because the hurricane season is upon us again. So have you come up with a new plan? How many generators are allowed to go home, and who exactly gets to take them home, and things like that? Thank you.
Benefit of the public, Director Guzzo, if we could just go over those controls again.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as I stated previously, the 2 position controls on this night's agenda involved 2 staff members that grants have been reduced, and we're asking for some additional county money to keep them on board. I think the total county money is approximately $23,000. As I stated previously, one is a clerical that provides all the support for paratransit, and another one is another clerical that works on all of our alcohol and drug grants within the Department of Human Services.
562, and I believe that was just, as a professional that the prosecutor's office requests to assist with a case. We do get those requests from time to time, depending on what cases they're working on. 583 and 584, I guess the question was, I know 584 is going to be an internal study, correct, in regards to the combination of the authorities?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I believe the question was who in the county is leading that study, and obviously the county manager would be leading anything and putting together whatever team as we get into this. The resolution is not actually due. There is no time frame for the study relative to Runnels at this point. The first step is to have you authorize this resolution this evening so that we can begin to put it together. All of those details will be spelled out as we get into the memorandum and will be available at that time.
And the same can be said for 583. We're still in the process of putting that team together. So.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry, Director Zuber, there were questions regarding the proposed Sandy grant. What exactly does that strategic plan entail?
If I may, through you, Mr. Chairman, this is for us to apply for a grant. We have not received it yet. It's through the state CDBG GR program. It's a federal funding that came through the state. We will be developing a plan which is more long-term recovery, so things like housing, transportation, community building. So it's a plan for that
Not
after
an emergency
disasters happen.
preparedness plan.
It's not an emergency.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Any other members of the public?
Pat Moschetti, excuse me, New Providence. Good evening, freeholders. I'd just like to further the discussion on the situation with the grant money disappearing, and my question.
Sorry, what grant money disappearing?
With the 2 clerical people that are, the county is going to put $23,000 for their efforts. Code 558 resolution. I guess in total, what was if the grant money plus the $23,000? How much did that total up to? If the assumption is the grant disappears this year and doesn't come back next year, what do we do with those 2 employees? And how did we find $23,000 in the budget when everything is itemized? Where did it come from?
Director.
I'll attempt to answer the last question, but let me just say that from time to people are hired, particularly in the department, on grants as they come in. They provide certain functions. When possible, we spread their salaries through many grants. Unfortunately, over the last couple of years in particular, the county, all counties have been hit particularly hard with the grant-funded programs. And as a result of that, we're either forced to reduce services, lay people off, which we have done, as everyone will remember over, I think, a year ago. But in some instances, when you have 1 or 2 people that are in a program that provides a vital service, and in this instance, I'll use paratransit as that example, which provides rides for people that are disabled and senior citizens throughout this county, logging over 500,000 miles a year. That one person provides all of the clerical functions in that office alone. So it really becomes an issue at that point as whether or not you want to be able, or you have to reduce it or lay that person off, which will impact services to a vulnerable community, or do you need to find money in order to keep programs like that going? In this particular instance, my recommendation to the board was that it is appropriate to find those dollars to keep those programs operational. I will say that it is very hard to find money, but there is always money within salary and wage that people, when they leave early, there's what we call slippage at times. Those dollars can be used. We don't use them often. We're very mindful of how the budgets are. So in instances like this, it's done judiciously, it's done with a lot of thought, but absolutely I believe that we should do something like this.
Any other comments?
Good evening, Chairman, Brady, and freeholders, Jim Bittner, Cranford. Resolution 573. Is this $47,500 being spent in anticipation of purchasing the property at that's mentioned in the bond ordinance at 6199 West Grand Street that we currently use as a garage?
Correct.
Is this SOP do this before purchasing a building?
Oh, we have, yes.
Excuse me?
Yes,
Your microphone's not working, so I can't hear you too well.
I said yes.
Okay, thank you. So we're looking to see how much we really screwed up the building before we purchase it. Okay, I understand.
That's not accurate.
The resolution 576. I was wondering if you could give me a breakdown on the $264,000. Actually, how much of that money is going to the two salaries, and actually how much money is actually being spent on the plan for funding hazardous waste? I'd be interested to know that. 580, I found that also curious, as did Bruce, as to why there's a resolution to conduct an online auction for one vehicle when the county, as a rule, conducts their, they just had their excess vehicle auction just not too long ago. So I didn't understand why this one is being singled out for an auction site. I'm curious. I was wondering if someone could explain that to me. And Resolution 584, it's been explained that this is going to be an internal audit. I would respectfully suggest that maybe it's time to go outside of the county and do and bring someone in to take a fresh look at how the efficiencies are conducted within the county. The county manager, not too long ago, Al Fiala, conducted his own audit, and he came up with that we would save money on toner, copier, or something of that nature. I think it's time to go outside, and maybe we can get a better idea as to how we can save money. Thank you.
We got two questions on the Civic. Director Romano? Oh.
I will defer this to the Director Moran in a second. This is not a county vehicle. This is a vehicle that was seized by the county police department, which is governed by certain statutes. We did do our auction for our vehicles in surplus last October. There's specific guidelines as it relates to these, and the county police actually does it themselves.
Okay, great. Anything to add?
Was there another part to that question? Or?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I came up, you're dressed and ready to go. I'll let you have that.
Chairman Hudak, Lieutenant, ladies and gentlemen, freeholder board, Bruce Patterson, Garwood, New Jersey. Just continuing on Greg and Mrs. Your name's a tough one. I keep calling it Statue, but it's Escalesco or something. But anyway, I'm listening to these facts. I followed this issue. It's amazing. Especially when he mentions the fact that 8 years, 9 accidents, 3 years, 15 accidents. And the thing that changed in that time was this Hawk light is there now. I listen to that. Something, I'm sure you're listening. You must be listening because something obviously is wrong. The problem why things don't happen is the government will never apologize. The government will never apologize. That's one of the things. They won't back down. But please. You found $23,000 somewhere in your budget to pay for a clerical person at paratransit. I don't know how much it's going to cost, but just throw a number out, $50,000. I mean, look for $50,000 in your budget. Please try to resolve this. Yes, it's an isolated issue a couple of houses, 130 feet, but just the facts are there. You're the county. It's a county road. Please, I mean, you have to do something. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It just to not do anything, just is silly. On a lighter night, I do want to thank you. Last double meeting, I was saying, well, I need more time because of the agenda. Yeah, you actually did give out the agenda ahead of time, both agendas, the agenda setting and the regular meeting agenda, and I must thank you for that. You obviously listen to me, which is rare, but thank you very much. The only, of course, I always have to criticize. God bless me, but you added three resolutions, and you stuck them in the middle of the agenda, and so all the numbers were all different. Here I am scrambling trying to match up numbers from the original morning agenda to this new revised agenda with the 3 resolutions. Why don't you just put those 3 resolutions at the end? That way all the numbers would stay the same. Because I was getting confused even,
We'll get away one of these days, Mr. Haas.
Yeah, sooner or later. I mean, please, that's what it is. And just moving right along, everybody was talking about the hospital and the study with CHR. And yes, I was there at the agenda setting meeting when they did that presentation, and I listened carefully. I don't recall them actually recommending the UCIA to continue on with it, but if you say other counties have used the UCIA, I'm not going to find fault in that. But I mean, let's face it, the gorilla is here in the room. I mean, the numbers that CHR was pointing out, and you're well aware because it's your budget also. I mean, it was like $17 million you lost last year. You forecast $19 million as a loss. To me, I mean, it's there. You really don't need any more studying. I mean, it's obvious what you have to do, and it's sad at the same time. But I mean, I do appreciate you that you're working towards at least trying to save $19 million for the taxpayers if you do sell the whole hospital. The portion of it, I heard their numbers. You might say $4 million here, $10 million here, but we're looking at a $19 million loss coming up, and selling it is the only answer, and it's a sad answer because it should have never come down to this. And I know Sullivan tried to push it off on the federal level and push it off on the state level, but it's a fact that these costs, these per bed costs, basically went up in the last 4 years. They went up higher and they went down a little bit, but it's not this bed cost, it's the cost of the hospital itself. Something is wrong operationally there. And I know what the answer is going to be. You're going to be getting rid of the hospital. I just want to cut to the chase. Of course, that's my opinion. The last thing, and I got this in the mail, and I'm sure everybody else who lives in Union County, a homeowner or renter, got this in the mail, but I see you're doing another Union County prescription discount card program, and yes, you did talk about this, Director Gozo did, but my question is, obviously it's a new tack, because now you actually reached out and sent this to every single household in Union County. The cost, I don't know, maybe Ms. Renda knows what the cost is, but it's amazing. It failed 2 other times, maybe 3 other times, but you just keep doing it. And to tell you the truth, that seems to be the definition of insanity that people always toss out. Just one last thing, I see Linda Carter up for election has her name on there, so that's interesting. Thank you.
Just as a point of clarification, is there any cost to the county for that?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. Number one, I'm sorry if I wasn't clear when we did this before, but the county did not do the mailing. It did not pay for the mailing. PROACT did it by themselves. There was no cost to the county for these cards at all going out. The company makes its money from the drug companies based on the discount that they negotiate with them. So there was no cost. We did not participate in any mailing whatsoever.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Chairman, Freeholders, Jim Bittner, Branford. Just as a follow-up on the resolutions, I did ask a question on 576 as to how much of that $264,000 was being spent on salaries, and then actually how much money was actually being spent on the program. I actually would like an answer to that. Moving on, I actually Would like to thank the freeholder or persons responsible for the presentation of the new student union building at the Union County College. Apparently someone is listening. Took 3 times to ask to get it, but we got it. And I'm very appreciative for myself and for the taxpayers to actually see that here tonight. I did ask Chairman Linda Carter last meeting if these presentations could not be held at agenda setting meetings, that they would be presented at regular meetings, so that so the filming or the videotaping would make these presentations public to the rest of the taxpayers who are not present here this evening. So with that, I was wondering, will we be videotaping in the future the agenda setting meetings? That is a question. All right. I would like an answer. But I do appreciate this presentation. Seeing this presentation is a time that we should maybe be also getting an updating presentation of what's going to go on at the Oak Ridge, the old Oak Ridge Golf Course, the new park. It's been quite some time. I'm sure things have developed. We figured out where we're spending the money. And maybe it's time to tell the taxpayers what they'll be buying. Thank you for that. I did hear, or I did read today actually, that a Union County reporter has reported that the county manager has concluded the freeholder investigation into Generator Gate. Is that indeed a fact? Because it was reported online today. I read it, and I'm curious if that's indeed a fact, and that the matter will be handled internally as a personnel matter and not as something that the public will be privy to. I would appreciate a comment on that. And lastly, I'm just curious as to where the UCI office is now operating out in Union County. Is it out of someone's personal home, or is there an office set aside? Thank you very much. I appreciate answers.
Well, let's see, we have 576. Director Graziano, could you just answer that question regarding salaries?
Through you, Chair. I believe that the salaries for this are roughly about $72,000 of that is salaries. The rest is split up between all of our programs we have, between the household waste, the shredding program, the tire program, and the electronic recycling program.
Thank you, Director.
You're welcome.
And, the Improvement Authority, I'm not sure the answer on that one. I'm sure.
Staff is here. Staff is here.
Any other questions from the public?
John Berry, Kenilworth. I think you missed one about the Oak Ridge question, so maybe I'll put it. Is any plans for that yet? I heard a crazy rumor that there's a 9-hole golf course ticketed for there. I mean, it's absolutely silly. But
to answer Jim Bittner's question, since you didn't answer it, the Union County Improvement Authority, I assume, is still being run out of the former Union County Democratic Chairwoman's house, because she's in office until August. What is the time frame for your Generator Gate report? I know the county manager is reviewing what the prosecutor investigated, and he's going to make recommendations on what to do about it. Mr. Machete was very humorous about borrowing a car, but it's, you know, why shouldn't citizens be able to borrow your equipment if you can? You know, he said that he paid $50,000 in county taxes since he lived here. Well, when those county employees took home those generators after Sandy, you went out and spent $40,000 in Hurricane Sandy relief funds to purchase new generators to be put to public use, because those weren't available. So why shouldn't citizens have a sign-in sheet while you have portable vehicles you're not using? why can't I borrow a car? I need one to go home. I mean, it's really not humorous. It makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, he paid for that and paid for it. So just to give some levity there. Are you guys planning on giving back your Birdsall? Many politicians that accepted money from Birdsall through the years are giving back their money, their campaign funds. I was just wondering if you want to answer that. Director Guzzo made a nice speech about the needy of Union County, and I wish you would all give more speeches about the needy of Union County. I wish you would pay more attention to the needy of Union County. We have a lot of needy here. We're a pretty poor county, and it's getting poorer. But what he failed to point out, and what I would like to draw attention to, in light of that, you created a new position for former freeholder Scanlon last year for $75,000. And that position could have easily paid for these two positions that you are trying to find money for. So you created that position for her. That's something that wasn't there before. You gave her a supervisory position. You created it, and her money is coming, I believe, from grant funding that is dedicated to pay for things like food stamps and things of that nature. So yeah, we do have a lot of poor here in Union County. Should pay more attention to that. I'd like to ask, I believe Mr. Netta left, but I think I'm on to your window caulking scam. That's always in a change control, always comes up in a change control. And I'd like to have asked him if window caulking is included in this plan. So I'll catch him next time. And Runnels Hospital, you moved a lot of your patronage jobs out. A lot of the things that drain the funds out of that hospital, a lot of those positions were moved out in February. So I just want to draw attention to that to the public. Thank you.
There were a few comments regarding generators tonight, but I believe the county manager made a statement that is, at this moment, it's being investigated as a personnel matter, and this board does not comment on personnel matters. Any other comments? Seeing no more comments,